Hey everyone, welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. My name is Sam Thrash. I'm your host over here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're talking turkey again this week. Got another one of our in-house guests, as I like to call him, one of our Fall Obsession team members. Lawson McKee is on the show this week. I'm getting some of our avid turkey hunters on Fall Obsession podcast for you guys so that we can talk tips, strategies, tactics, experiences, all that kind of stuff, and try to get you guys equipped with the information that you want to hear for spring turkey and the time of year that we're in right now. So, got Lawson on here, another expert and passionate turkey hunter. He knows more, probably has forgotten more than I'll ever know about hunting turkeys, but it's a great episode. Hope that our turkey hunters in the listener crowd enjoy this one. This is also one of our live podcasts, which we are doing from time to time now. Those are on the YouTube channel if you guys ever want to go over there and subscribe. Gives you guys the opportunity to not only tune into an episode prior to its official release on all the podcast platforms, but you can also interact with us if you want to. We monitor the chat section on the YouTube during our live shows. So if you want to ask questions or comment on anything that we're talking about, you can kind of be a part of the podcast with us. So unique opportunity for you guys there. But hope you guys enjoy this episode with Lawson. It's a great conversation, and we'll definitely get you fired up for spring turkey season. I'm going to give a quick shout out to some partners of Fall Obsession Podcast, and they have discount codes for you guys, so don't skip over this part. Hoot Camo is a podcast partner. Love our Hoot gear. We're wearing it all the time across the country in different environments. Go check them out at hootcamo.com and use the code FallObsession15 to save yourself some money at checkout. The official archery shop of Fall Obsession is in North Texas, and it's called Bear River Archery, owned and operated by Justin Canaday out there in Van Alstyne, Texas. If you are in the North Texas area yourself, you need to make the trip to Van Alstyne to go see him and see everything he's got going on. That new bow shop he's been building is about to open, and it's going to be epic. And if you're not local to North Texas, but you still want to give Justin your business, you can shop online with him and use the code FALLOBSESSION at checkout to save with Bear River Archery. Tacticam Reveal is the official cell cam of the Fall Obsession team. Our team runs hundreds of Tacticam Reveal cameras across the country, and we can't say enough about the reliability and the quality of the product. You won't find a better one. Guys, go check out the Reveal cell cam from Tacticam. The Outdoor Call Radio app is a podcast partner. If you don't know what the Outdoor Call Radio app is, you need to go search for it in your app store. It's a platform where you guys can listen to hunting shows and podcasts on a loop, streaming every single day, kind of like a radio show on your phone. Fall Obsession Podcast plays on that loop on Mondays, along with some other shows that are very interesting and very awesome for you guys to tune into. Go download the Outdoor Call Radio app today. It's free. Follow him on social media. Outdoors Dan, the host, he also does some live shows throughout the week that are shared on his Facebook Live. You don't want to miss those. Again, guys, it's the Outdoor Call Radio app. Go download it today. If you guys haven't already, make sure you show us some love over here at Fall Obsession. Follow or subscribe to the podcast on whatever streaming platform you are listening on. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lots of awesome stuff over there for you guys. Follow us on whatever social media platforms you are active on. We should be there as well. Hit up the website, fallobsession.com. Check out everything we got going on here at the Fall Obsession brand. Pick up some hats or shirts if you're so inclined to support us that way. But ultimately, hitting that follow button is the $0 investment that you can make into Fall Obsession to show us your support, and we always appreciate that. Finally, make sure that you guys check out our shows that stream on Carbon TV. This podcast, along with our staff-inspired video podcast series that's called Couch Chats, is on Carbon TV. And then we have two different hunting shows called Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset that are on Carbon TV. Go check out everything that's on that platform. It is awesome. It's free for you guys. It's made for the consumer. It's Carbon TV, guys. Don't miss out on it. Try to keep it short and sweet so we can get into our conversation with Lawson, which is where we're going right now. Thanks for listening. This is another Fall Obsession podcast.
The power lies within that middle ground.
Hunting transformed my life.
I think you have to be built somewhat different.
That Dale Brisby's a super puncher.
It's
Hey,
even
we need to get Pop-Tarts on the next Walmart order. I'm serious.
Is to come into this country and stay dedicated to that. It was pretty awesome.
If it's only for one, then you've done your job.
We have to do what's right for the wildlife, and that's our responsibility as hunters.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. We are live on YouTube this evening with a live audience. So if you guys are joining us as a part of that live show, you are welcome to drop us a comment, hit us up in the chat section on the YouTube. We'd love to field some questions and talk to you guys during the episode here. But my guest this week is one of our own Fall Obsession pro staffers, Lawson McKee. He's been on the show before, but welcome back, man. Happy to sit down with you.
Yeah, happy to spend a little time on the phone instead of just sitting in a hotel.
Yeah. If you're watching the live feed, you might have caught it just briefly there, talking about some training for his profession that Lawson's going through. So he's out of town right now, going through that, and had some time this evening to hop on a podcast. So we wanted to take advantage of it, but. Yeah, definitely beats just watching hotel TV. I'll say that.
There ain't no doubt, especially when you don't know the channels.
Yeah. They don't have my programs. They don't have my channels. They ain't got nothing.
Yeah, we don't have like cable TV at home. So when I come somewhere that has like regular TV, I don't know how to just go to search on Netflix or something, or
yeah. I'm the same way, man. Like we don't even at my house, we don't even pay for TV. There's so many streaming platforms. I pay for a couple of streaming subscriptions, and man,
yeah, we're never home,
it.
so it don't make sense to pay for TV to have just to not watch half of it.
Yeah, and on top of that, I watch more just free like YouTube or Carbon TV hunting shows than anything else.
Yeah, that's the way I am. And my wife gets so mad because like I go nonstop, and then if I go to like actually sit down in the recliner, I'm done. Like I can't even just sit down and watch a movie because I'm sleeping. And she's like, why are you sleeping? You can't just hang out. I'm like, my body's taking advantage of a rest.
Yeah, exactly. I know the feeling, man. Well, we want to talk turkeys. That's the ultimate goal and what I have slated for this podcast. But for anybody, I know it hadn't been too terribly long since you were last on here. But for anybody that might be a newer show listener, just give us a brief little rundown on who you are and where you're from, and maybe where your obsession for turkey hunting started.
Yeah, so I'm Lawson McKee. I've been with Fall Obsession. It's quickly approaching a year already.
Yeah.
Just recently become pro staff, and I live in West Virginia. I'm originally from Arkansas, so it's kind of I get kind of the whole moving from state to state hunting. But probably my as far as turkey hunting goes, people kind of make fun of me, but I'd probably give up deer hunting to make sure I could turkey hunt another day. I think I was 15 when I killed my first turkey, and I was thinking about that on the way home or on the way here today, knowing I was going to do this podcast. I went with a really good friend of mine. He's kind of one of them guys that was just, you never hear people talk about the good hunters, the people that weren't per se on TV or whatnot. But I swore this guy could literally talk turkey. I mean, it was unbelievable. And first bird ever I went, it was youth season. I was 15, Arkansas. We went and roosted the bird, and I'd never shot a turkey. Like, I'm from southern Arkansas where turkeys are very, like, sparse. So that wasn't a thing growing up. And I was like, okay, so how close does it need to be? Like, what do I got to do? So we go in that morning, you hear him on the roost, and he says, we're like in a little knoll of a hillside. He said, I'm going to set you here. I'm going to go behind you and call. And he said, when I cut, that means you can shoot. And I said, okay, what's a cut? So he tells me what it sounds like, and I'm like, okay, I got it. Well, this bird winds up coming in, and it's like 5 yards from my feet. And I'm just watching him, and I'm watching his head turn colors and fan out and strut. And I got these hens. I mean, I'm literally freaking out, and it leaves. He's like, man, I just can't believe that bird wouldn't come in. I'm like, Aaron, I said, just out of curiosity, how close they got to be? He says like 50 yards. I said, he was 5 yards from me. He's like, I couldn't see him. He should have shot. I said, you told me you cut. So long story short, I wound up shooting the bird at like 62 steps in a drainage ditch, sneaking up on him. And it turned out to be a Jake, which at the time I didn't know what it was, but it had 5 beards on it. So my first bird I ever killed in my life had the first beard was 5 3/4, and it just got shorter and shorter as it went, But yeah, at the time, I'm like, man, these things must be built of steel or something. I can't shoot with a shotgun at 5 yards. So, I mean, I got like the whole rush of like hearing one gobble at your feet. Like, I didn't know what spit drum was. And I'm like, man, I could just hear all these noises. He's like, yeah, this is, he's explaining it to me. And after that, I was just ruined. I mean, I chased him Arkansas, and we had, I heard you and Kendra talking on your podcast today, and predators came into Arkansas, and that's when hogs got introduced. And I mean, the population depleted drastically. I mean, you were lucky to hear a turkey gobble for years. And
Yeah.
then I moved up here. I live in Wellsburg, which is like Wheeling area, West Virginia. So I can be in Ohio in 10 minutes or PA in 20 minutes. So I hunt, they call it the Ohio Valley, and I hunt all of it. And I've never been in a place that has like the turkey population. So like when I got back here, I felt like I was 15 again. So it's been a good ride up here.
Oh yeah. And where's up here exactly for you? You don't have to give away secret spots or nothing, but
Primarily home of West Virginia. I mean, it's just
okay.
been the turkey population. I feel like the turkey hunting climate or people that do it have like it's grown within since COVID, but pre-COVID, I felt like I had free range of the entire state. I mean, it was like crazy. I mean, everywhere I stopped, like, hey, can I turkey hunt? Yep, just don't shoot my deer. I'm like, I'm not after your deer. I'm after that long beard I just seen for the last 3 days strutting in your field. And they're like,
Yeah.
we don't care about turkeys. And it's kind of slowed down. It seems like the more I go, the more people I run into. But just we've had a lot of good years up here. I've lived here for 10 years in West Virginia, and it's been a solid 10 years. So
That's awesome. Now you mentioned briefly just now predators, and I have it on my list of stuff that I wanted to talk to you about. I'll go ahead and hit on it a little bit. Because I briefly had a discussion with Kendra about it, as you heard.
yeah.
But what's your take on that, and how the predator population, predator activity, how that impacts your turkeys, or what do you see in your area?
If you consider yourself an avid turkey hunter and you're not doing predator control, you're hurting yourself.
Mm.
Between coyotes primarily are like your adults and your once they hatch out, but you have nest raiders such as raccoons, possums, skunks. They deplete a major population of your turkeys. We started that predator obsession, but prior to that, I've been hitting them pretty hard for the last, I would say, at least 3 years, and I can see a huge difference in like farms I have, say, elite control over to do predator control, and it's it's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
From seeing 5 or 6 poults to 12 or 13 in the summertime. So
Wow.
it makes a huge difference. I mean, if you can just go out and set out simple foothold traps or the dog proof traps for raccoons on your property, you will see a huge turnaround. So knock on wood, we don't have wild hogs, thank God. But
Yeah.
predators are your number one. I mean, you think about a turkey from the time it wakes up, the time it goes to sleep, something's trying to kill it, whether it's a hunter or something trying to eat it. There's no, it's a flight or fight type deal.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And you heard me talk about that, not to reiterate, last week's podcast or anything, but just how even with the wild hogs, how we saw differences in our turkey population with that and everything.
Oh,
And
definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
they're people say they wish they had them, because I tell people up around my area about hunting hogs back home, and they're like, "Man, I wish we had those." I was like, "Just go south." I said, "You do not want them. They deplete
yeah,
your conservation. Your whether it be where they live or the actual nest itself or whatever it is. They're hard on them."
no, it's man, you like them or you hate them. I feel like,
Yeah.
or bits and pieces of it both. Obviously the pros is at least here in Texas, there's always something to hunt.
Oh,
That
100%.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter what time of day or night or year. Like you can go shoot a pig if you want to shoot a pig if you
If
got
you're
them.
just bored, it's time to go shoot something. Let's go
Yeah,
find a hog. Yeah, I mean that's how it was when I left Arkansas. I mean, if there was nothing in season, a hog was.
yeah. But to your point, like that's what a lot of people don't think about or don't consider is the other conservation or wildlife impacts that come with it. And I completely agree with you in everything that you said as far as because being from Texas, I get the same question like, oh man, y'all got hogs down there. I'd love to hunt hogs. I'd love to have hogs. It's like, well, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yes,
Yeah.
we can hunt them whenever we want with whatever we want. Blow them up if you want to.
Right.
Like do whatever. Literally, you can do whatever you want. But at the same time, there's other impacts to the other wildlife or even just the land itself, especially if you're overrun with them. Like they tear everything up, and you're constantly chasing behind them, whether it's with your other wildlife populations or with just maintaining your property. So
Yeah. Forget the idea of planting a food plot. I mean, it's
yeah,
just it's a nightmare. I mean, I lived it, and I do not miss that aspect of the South. I can assure you of that.
yeah, no, it's I've definitely I've definitely not minded the past few years where we've had little to no hogs on the place because like I've already mentioned the turkeys increased and now we have I don't know, it's just seems like it's a little bit better wildlife as far as game animal balance that
Oh,
that we have
absolutely.
right
That's
now.
yeah.
So
They encroach on everything's food. The food available, and just nothing can compete with them. I mean, it's like going against armor shield.
yeah. So, what does for you personally, in your experience, what does your scouting for spring turkey look like? And I know that you spend between deer hunting in the fall and then predator hunting, after that, I know you spend a lot of time in the woods. So what are you doing as far as what kind of time are you committing to scouting for spring turkey?
In the years past, this year's been a little bit different just because we have so much going on. But in the years past, I just tell everybody just go buy a new set of tires because I don't like to put a lot of pressure on my birds before I hunt them. So it's all driving down the roads I can hunt and just glassing. I mean, you'll wear out a pair of binoculars and a set of tires in a season, especially if you run with me. I I try to coach patience, but I am not a patient person. I'm a run and gun hunter. So if I can't get one to gobble here, I'm headed to the next place. So my scouting goes from walking in the woods trying to find scratching or you can find their roosting areas, but it's primarily just glassing and finding their strut zones and seeing how many birds we got here or there.
Yeah. And that's an interesting contrast too, because I know Kendra last week she talked about how she does both. And but she definitely harped on that element of patience, right?
Yeah.
And everything. And I understand completely where she's coming from. I don't disagree with it at all. But hearing you say that, it's like, all right, let's talk some run and gun stuff since we got a run and gun guy here,
Yeah, so
you
like
know?
I told you before the deal, I wrote down a bunch of
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
So I'm from Arkansas. You can hunt turkeys year round or all day there. From daylight to dark, you could when turkey season comes in, it's in. Well, in West Virginia, you can only hunt from daylight till 1 o'clock. You have to be in your
Hmm.
truck leaving by 1.
Okay.
So you have like an early morning right off the roost. They're hammered up. I like to roost a bird if I have the opportunity to because you know where they're sleeping. They're not unless a big storm comes through. That's where they're going to be in the morning. So I'm a hoot owl guy. I learned how to do it with my mouth, and I've never owned a hoot tube. I can carry my voice, and so I'll hoot if I locate one. That's where I'm setting up. If I don't find one off the roost, I'm going to the local dive breakfast place. I'm gonna eat breakfast. I'm gonna get back in there about 10 o'clock because that's when they're from the roost. If you don't kill one from the roost, they go to their hens. And I don't care how sexy you sound on that call, a live hen in front of them, you're no competition. So leave them, come back when the hens are nesting up, leaving them, and then they're looking for the next one. But
Hmm.
that was one of my notes is if you can't hunt all day, you got to make the biggest of your time.
Yeah.
And I had an old man tell me years ago when I started hunting, he said if you call to a bird and he answers you. If you yelp 4 or 5 times and he cuts you off or he gobbles and he don't show up, if you have the time, don't move. He will come there today. It may be in an hour, it may be in two, but he will come see what that hen wanted that morning.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, I'm not the patient hunter, so if you don't want to come to me, I'm going to go find somebody that does.
Yeah. Yeah. So and so let me kind of building on that a little bit. If you have, uh, let's say that you have a bird that is responding, but he's not playing ball. He's hung up and everything. Um, what kind of efforts are you putting into actually going to him in that case? Or when you say if you're not coming to me, I'm moving on, are you just completely we'll try that bird again another day?
If I have a bird calling, let's say I get him off the roost, I hear him fly down, and I can hear some hens yelping, and I can hear him gobbling. If he's truly answering me, I'm gonna move up like 10 yards at a time. I'm gonna push my limits. And a lot of times, it's a risk versus reward. I've been busted more than I can tell anybody not to do that. But it's the drive of just trying to outsmart him that I just can't overcome. So I'll keep easing up in him, and sometimes like I'm a big youth guy, so I try to take as many kids as I can. And unfortunately for a lot of youth, my son can hunt this year, so he's got first seat. But I'll usually set them up. I'll set them up like 10, 20 yards in front of me, and I'll move around so it seems like the hen's moving.
Yeah.
So he can't lock in on a spot, but he wants to lock into an area, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense. So what are your thoughts on or do your tactics change at all as you start getting later into the turkey season?
Later in the year, when I know hens are nesting up, walking through a big hay field and you stumble on, you bust up a hen, she's laid up. If I have hens laying up, over the last, let's say 2 years, I've got into this reaping pretty big. It's just use a full decoy or just a fan. Like the first bird of the year gets his fan cut off and he goes in my backpack. So you go out in the field and you flash that fan full span and you move it around. They're very territorial over their area of where they think their hens are. So if I got a gobbler in the field, say he's in his strut zone, he don't want to break open, I'll get out there and lay on my stomach with that decoy, and I'll just turn it and call and turn it and call, and eventually he'll get mad enough he wants to come whoop on me. So it's adrenaline rush with that reaping because I've had them come within 4 or 5 yards. I've had them right over top of me and wait, just lay your head down, wait for somebody to shoot them. It's a good time, but I don't know. I'm pretty aggressive. I do the offense, not defense type
Yeah.
hunting, I guess would be the best way to prescribe it.
Yeah, for sure. So on that note, offense, not defense. What would you say if you can think back is the most aggressive in the moment adjustment that you've made to get a bird that ended up paying off?
I had a bird last year. I was out at actually my school's every 6 months. So I was in Columbus last year for opening day. I got home on Thursday, went and roosted a bird, didn't turn out. He flew right down to hens, and I left. And as I was driving down the well pad road, I just happened to cut my truck off, roll the windows down, and yelped one time, and a turkey gobbled, and I could see him in the field. So I took that decoy, ran out, stuck it 10 yards from me, laid in the brush, and called to him. And I watched him come down that road and walk past my feet, and I let him attack my decoy, and I shot him off the decoy.
Oh, wow.
I've crawled out in the field like I've had birds in the middle of a hay field, say 100-acre field. If they can't see you, the likelihood they're not breaking because their vision is incredible. I've crawled behind the decoy out in the field with it in front of me on my belly and shot them from behind the decoy. Once they break and come to you, I don't even know how to explain the rush you get when you shoot them or they're going to flog you.
Yeah. That's like some hunting show stuff. That's
Yeah,
that's what you
yeah.
see on
So
the Outdoor Channel.
yeah, yeah. I'm hoping I just ordered. Actually, I just completed my order of some tactic cams. I'm gonna set them up on my decoys this year. See if I can get some video of that.
Heck yeah.
So
That's
hopefully we
awesome.
can get some little bit of slow mo.
That'd be pretty cool for sure. Yeah, it's always that adds a whole nother element to it for sure that you're
Oh,
having to be
absolutely. Yeah, I
mindful of.
mean, my
So,
son, my son shot his first bird last year, and he was 4.
wow.
So until this July or this summer, uh, West Virginia in youth season, you had to be at least 8. But then during regular season, the parent thought you were old enough to hunt, you could do it. Well, he went with me during regular season, and we had one come in, and you could tell it had been decoyed out a little bit because as soon as it seen his decoy, it started putting, and he wound up shooting it. I mean, it was the video is like my favorite video I've ever got to watch because like you can just see him running, and he goes up and grabs the turkey, and it's there's something about listening to one spit drum and everybody's heard a turkey gobble at a distance, but when you've heard them gobble 20 yards from you, you don't even hear a gobble. All you hear is a hollow thump 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 thump. It's just it's unbelievable.
So your son shooting his first bird at 4. I
Yeah.
want to talk about that real quick because
Yep.
that man, that is kudos to you because that is a whole lot younger than most kiddos probably killing their
Yeah.
first deer or their first turkey or anything like that. So um for the dads and the parents out there, parents of young kids that are tuning into this podcast, what I guess to put it plainly, how do you do it? Because
Well,
like that, like I said, that's a youngin to be getting out there and to have the confidence and the trust in him to be able to put a bird down. So what kind of preparation are you working with him on specific to his age to be able to accomplish that?
so a friend of mine hand loads shotgun shells and he shoots a 410 and he has been ate up with any kind of hunting because that's what I did while he's growing up. Where's dad going? I'm going hunting. Well, I want to go. Well, when you get old enough, just that same thing everybody goes through. Well, I spent a lot of time letting him shoot at a target and I would pick different areas and see where that shot was going. And he was actually aiming, making sure red dot scope, whatnot. So I felt pretty confident in him ready to go. And so we set a blind up and I had birds coming in regular in an area where not necessarily even had to call to him, but I called to him just for the excitement of hearing him gobble or, whatnot. So the biggest thing to me is with any kid is make it fun for them.
Right.
So we went to the gas station that one. We got chocolate milk. We got powdered covered donuts, like comfortable seat. It was a fast morning, so we didn't have a lot of like downtime. I can't run and gun with him,
Right.
but I'm a big not a screen guy. Don't let them get your kids outside. Don't give them an
Yep.
iPad. But
Yep.
you're setting in the blind. You got to make it fun because if you don't, they don't want to go back. So unfortunately, that morning I didn't have to hand him my phone back here, play Candy Crush or something just to keep your mind occupied. But just let it be their idea. He has a poster on his wall right now of a countdown for opening day of youth season. He marks off as soon as he gets out of bed every morning. So
That's awesome.
as my wife would say, I've officially ruined my son. So
It's a good kind of ruin though.
yeah, exactly. I said, listen, he'll never have any money to do anything he shouldn't.
Yeah, he's gonna be broke, but he's gonna have some awesome hunting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest. A lot of people are like, "How'd you get him to do this?" I'm like, it was his idea. I just offered it, and if he wanted to go, good. If not, I'm not going to go force you to do it.
Yeah,
So just you got to make it fun for the youth.
yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree
Youth
more.
season last year, I called in 10 birds on opening morning for a kid that has never missed for me, and he missed all 10.
Oh my word.
And he was ate up. I mean, I felt so bad for him. My man's a good shot, and like every bird he's ever seen go to the ground, I've been with him, and we had a rough opening. We wound up getting it done on Sunday. It wasn't near as good as hunting opening day, but we got it done. But you just gotta let them be the driver. As much
Yeah,
as you want to go, if they're done. Yeah, I've took my son deer hunting before, and it'd be 8 o'clock in the morning. He's done. Okay, let's go home.
yeah,
But that's the hardest part is just let them be the driver.
yeah. I completely agree. You got to keep it interesting. You got to keep them intrigued because if we hunted like we want to hunt with them, then it's
He'd
going to be
never go back.
boring. It's going
Yeah.
to be boring. It's going to be tired. It's going to be hard. It's going to be all the things. You
And right
definitely
now
got to
he's still on
acclimate
that
to it.
lucky streak. He gets to he's on that lucky roll where he's got to go out and almost be successful almost every time. So it's like it's still a I said, son, I've sat from daylight to dark and seen 2 deer. So like
Yeah.
the time's coming to where we're not going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in for a reality check of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point we're going to come home crying. I can almost see it already, but right now we're still knocking on the lucky door.
Yeah, that's part of it. You've never truly hunted if you've never had a day where you didn't see nothing or an animal that you didn't miss or put a unfortunate
Absolutely.
shot
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So
Until you miss one, it's you don't even know that kind of heartbreak.
yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of tiptoed around it or briefly mentioned it as far as just you being being aggressive and unique in your turkey hunting style and everything. And I even know when pretty much ever since we've known you, like Mike, he's always mentioned he's like, man, Lawson's the guy who's ate up with turkeys and
Yeah,
he
I was actually with him this weekend. I'm like, man, turkey season's coming up. He's like, I just can't get into it. I said, man, I just don't know how. Like, it eats me alive. I mean, when I was a pipeliner, I would quit jobs just to go hunt, and then I'd call them and see if they still needed help when season was over. I'm not sure what they have a grasp on me. That's kind of where this. I'm not sure if you do much reading, but if you do, a really good book to get is by Colonel Tom Kelly. It's called The 10th Legion.
okay.
It's a lot of history of turkey hunting where he started. There was no birds, and it's a pretty good book. But one of the quotes, and my favorite one is the first turkey that ever came to me on the ground did it a long time ago. I sat there with my hands shaking, my hands shaking and my breath short. My hands shaking and my heart hammering so hard I could not understand why he could not hear it. The last turkey that came to me last spring had exactly the same effect. And the day this does not happen to me is the day that I quit. And just hearing a turkey gobble, I mean, I don't know, it eats me up.
That's
It's
awesome,
hard to
man.
even explain.
So So tell me about like if you were to and just use me as the hypothetical. Not this is not me trying to get an invite. Don't take it that way. But if you were to take me or anybody out with you for the first time, what's that person in for?
Hopefully an early morning, but if not, we're going to do some walking because we're
Okay.
we're going to where the birds want to go. It's no matter how good I consider myself a pretty efficient caller. I've spent many hours driving down the road wearing out calls, and if I find one I like, I'll go five or six of them because eventually the latex stretches and it doesn't sound the same, or
Yeah.
what have you. But um, if you are in an area where the turkey don't want to go, you're not going to call them there. You got to know where they want to go or where they like to travel or whatnot. But you're en route for an early morning and a lot of driving.
Yeah.
If a bird won't gobble or don't want to work with us in the first farm, we're going to go to the next one. If we don't, we're going to burn up 15 farms. And if we don't get done the first day, we'll get done the second.
Yeah. It'll happen for sure.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna push some limits there. So, uh,
Awesome.
like I said, I have a hard time setting still. It just when I hear them gobbling, if they're going away from me, I just in my mind think that I can outsmart them. And an animal with a pea-sized brain, I've lost a lot of sleep over them.
Yeah, that's a common thought, man, in my mind, whether it's deer, turkey, or the few experiences I've had out west. I was like, man, this thing's a deer. Like this is a prey animal. Like
Yeah,
how am I this stupid?
yeah. I've done that many times. Throw your hat down, wondering why are you so dumb? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bird or it's a deer. Like you said, it's just that deer hunting. I truly enjoy deer hunting, and I don't miss opening day, and I go as much as I possibly can. But I've never quit a job to go chase a deer or. Now I told you when I interviewed for Fall Obsession. Now if I get into elk hunting. Next time you might see me, I might have long hair and a big ass beard because I'll be scratching for work because I'll have to go bankrupt trying to chase them. I'm afraid, but
Yeah, that's
It's something about being able to interact with them so vocally.
yeah.
You can rattle and grunt to a deer, but knowing that you said the right thing to that turkey to make them gobble or get fired up, watch their head change colors and just get just so mad they're ready to flog you, and you shoot them at 10 yards. It's just I don't know. And the beauty of them, there's I don't think there's a prettier bird out there.
Yeah, they are incredible for sure. So you have Easterns out where you're at? Is
We
that
do. Yep.
have you ever gone anywhere else or hunt any other turkeys? Well, you said you're
I've
from Arkansas, so
Yeah, Easterns are in Arkansas. I've hunted a few Rio. I've never killed a Rio actually turkey hunting. I called some in down in Kansas. I was working down there with some guys, and I went with them. But I'm hoping once my apprenticeship is over with, I want to do my Grand Slam, try to get it done in a year. So
yeah.
be a good trip. My buddy just went to Florida, Texas, and he's home now. So he killed was it Osceola
I'll see you
or
later.
also yeah Osceola in Florida, and he killed two Rios in Texas. So
Wow.
he did that within like 3 days. So he gets his Rio, and I think he's going to I think North Dakota for Merriam
Uh-huh.
this year. So that's what I'd like to do, is try to map it out to where I can just go like for 2 weeks and just go from like state to state as they open and try to pick them off.
Yeah. Man,
Maybe one day I'll be able to go kill one in all 49 states. That'd be pretty sweet accomplishment.
you and Kendra need to make it a fall obsession, Turkey Grand Slam tour because we got enough people all over. We could
Make
probably
some phone calls.
probably make it happen. And I'll
It,
extend the same offer that I extended to Kendra because she also wants to finish her Grand Slam when it's time and you need that Rio. Just give me a holler and we'll make
I
something
definitely
happen.
will.
We'll make something happen on the old Texas dirt out here. So
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to double up or something. It's I don't know. You get birds fired up, and it goes from turkey hunting to turkey obsession. I mean, it
oh yeah.
goes quick. I mean, it's a wormhole you can get stuck in real bad.
I would offer to call for you so you could hunt, but we both know that it's not gonna work.
I usually I went with a few guys that like they bring their own calls, and I let them call for a little bit. And I'm like, hey, can I go ahead and do this? And I'm like, you drive me crazy.
Yeah, that would be me. Yeah, that's
Because if you ever heard a wild hen, there's nothing like to a human ear. There's nothing that sounds good about them. Like you hear one, you're like, man, why is he like her more than me? Because I sound a lot better.
yeah, I sound so good.
Yeah, I just wanted to hang out with him for a little bit, but
Yeah. So you talked about having like once you find a call that you like, going ahead and getting several of them and everything. Where are you at right now with that? What kind of calls are your go-to these days?
I run Bo Brooks right now. I don't know if
Okay.
you guys have ever heard him, but he is like an animal dictionary. He's incredible, and he makes some really good power calls. They call them, and they're easy to blow on. They don't. We have a lot of hills around West Virginia, and I'm not in the best shape anymore. So by the time you do some walking, you don't have a lot of air to blow in a call. So uh, that's what I've been running this year. Is his call or last year? I prefer a diaphragm just because there's less movement. But on like windy days, I run a slate call quite a bit. I've got a really old call. It was made by Knott and Held called the Old Yeller. They don't even sell them anymore, and it's got a crack in it. It's kind of breaking my heart because I'm afraid it don't have much life left in it, but it's killed a lot of turkeys.
Yeah.
So
What else do you have as far as gear, like in your
look at there.
complimented
I wrote
stuff?
that. I wrote this down.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Yep, I knew I'd forget it. Let's see here. Must haves. With me, for my personal preference is a vest that is comfortable to sit in. There's nothing worse because it's springtime, so you get the heavy dew in the morning. First thing in the morning, you don't want to sit down and have a wet butt. So I run I don't even know the brand of it, but it's actually got like a kickstand that you lean back, so I don't have to get against a big tree. Like I can just lay down and brush pile,
Okay.
and I have a good backrest, and you're comfortable. And I always say comfort equals still because I'm a firm believer if a turkey could smell, you'd never see somebody killing them unless they're shooting with a rifle because their eyesight's just too keen. I feel like I've seen them bust me when I blink my eyeball. But let's see here. On the must-haves, I put shoot and know your gun. So whatever shot you want to shoot, you need to shoot it, and don't just go buy 5 shells and call it good. Figure out whether your gun likes 5 shot, 6 shot. I run TSS, so I went through a couple different chokes to figure out what my gun shoots the best, and my buddy hand loads them for me. We spent a lot of time perfecting that load per se.
Mm-hmm.
I already said the good vest for comfort, and then practice, practice, practice your calling. Wear a call out when you're by yourself or drive your wife crazy or your kids. Just put it in your mouth. Get used to it being in there. Get it broke in because the more it gets broke in, the better it sounds. And then as soon as it starts sounding good, then you got to get a new one because it gets too stretched. Let's see what else I put here. Pick a smart setup. So everybody knows where the sun comes up on your farms that you hunt. If you sit where the sun comes up in your face, you're going to get spotted. It's like putting a spotlight on you.
Yeah.
So that'd be like a big key I'd tell everybody is pick somewhere where you're hidden. Even if you're 10 yards back off the field edge, or if you're hunting woods, wherever you're hunting, just pick a good setup to where you can see, and you never know where they're going to come from per se, but where you expect them to come from.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
I think I put one more in here. I said,
yeah,
a good hunt doesn't mean a harvest.
that's a fact. I, that's always something, and I know I've talked about it on the show before, but just the older you get, the less filling a tag seems to mean to you. I mean, we all want to be
Yeah.
successful and everything, but especially as I'm starting to watch my son get interested in it, that's one thing. Or, I think back to the last the fall obsession turkey hunt that we had out here last year on our place. And, that was one of those deals where it's just like, man, I'm not out here trying to get a bird. I want all these guys to have have a
Right.
good experience and have fun out here and do everything I can to put them in a position to get a bird. And Kess Fisher, one of our staffers,
Yeah.
he came down from Indiana for that turkey hunt, and especially him and Drew Tordick, our marketing director, he came down from Minnesota. So two non-residents out here with the Texas boys hunting turkeys. I'm like, man, I got to get these guys a bird, man. I gotta make it worth their while. They came a long way to get here. Kess drove.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get them a bird. And unfortunately, neither one of them ended up filling their tag because it is hunting. It's still hunting.
Right.
But Kess even talked about, he's like, man, because we hunted, they came in on like a Friday afternoon, so we got to hunt, through Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. Uh, and yeah, Kess talked about, he's like, man, that Saturday morning hunt, he's like, he came close. He came close to killing a bird, but he's like, man, that's worth it. That was worth the whole trip for me. He's like, just the environment we were in, the turkeys that were in the area that we were trying to play, and just everything. He's like, that's the kind of hunt that you dream about.
Yeah.
And he's like, that I didn't kill a bird, but he's like, that made the trip right there. So I was
I
like,
think it was either 2 years ago or maybe coming on three. As you probably know, once you have kids, your time really runs together. But
oh yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago. I waited to the last day of season before I realized I hadn't filled my own tag yet. I took so many people and killed so many birds. I'm like, man, I had a successful year. And I'm laying in bed like the Friday night before the last Saturday, and my wife's like, well, you never killed a bird. I'm like, huh, you got a good point. I had to get up and go kill my own. But at that point, I realized I had a really good year. I called in a ton of birds. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at how many birds we killed, but I mean, I tagged a bunch of people out, and
Yeah.
at the time I was working with a guy that never killed a bird, and I took him. I'll never forget, we was on a gas pipeline, and he was a little bit bigger guy, so he wasn't really keeping up with me, and I was going up ahead, and I stopped, and I made like 2 yelps, and two toms just like completely cut me off. So I just reached behind him and just told him to get down. And in a pipeline, they got those water bars.
Yeah.
it had a big ditch, and I just laid down in the water bar. I was out in the middle of the right of way, and I called to them, and they came over the top of me, and I mean, I'm talking, I could have reached out and grabbed them by their leg and just held them down, and I'm like, they're gonna shoot anytime, anytime. And then I heard them walk off. I got up, I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, I sat down in a brush pile, I couldn't see him. He said they had to be 5 feet from me. He said I could feel him gobble them in my face.
Oh,
And then
wow.
so like, at the time I thought I failed because like I took a guy, I was like, I'll get you a bird. And on the truck, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I was like, I should have had a better. He's like, that was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced in my life. So like, I guess for one person it's good and one person it's bad. In my eyes, I was like, I promised you a bird. I would call a bird in, and I failed. It's like, dude, I've never got to experience. I call them thunder chickens. I never got to
Yeah.
experience thunder from them.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, it's a it's a game changer, man, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, it's not always about the kill. It's the experiences in my mind that make it worth it. And ultimately that's why we do it. That's why we keep coming back. And that's I
Absolutely.
think
Yep.
I think that's why additionally, I think that's why it holds such a special place for us in our hearts and minds, and we're able to decompress and just kind of get back in touch with the outdoors and everything. And there's so many more things to it than just the hunt. So
100%. Yeah, it's as a kid, I was pretty mad about about everything. Or I could say a kid, a teenager, even in my early 20s, I was like, I just want to kill everything. And then like life kind of slows you down, and you realize I'm just out here enjoying it. I
yeah.
couldn't tell you how many times I sit in the deer stand and watch deer walk by that I would have shot 6 times, 10 years ago, and then be like, man, that was a cool experience. I got to watch how they worked a scrape, or I got to watch them grunt and chase, and I didn't have to clean anything.
That's true. Always a plus side too.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a few, throw some stuff at you for just like some tips and advice and some stuff like that for folks that are tuning in and everything. Um, the the first one being like what's something, a behavior for a hunter that you observe, or that might not be the best way to ask that, but what's something that people do to you that it looks like they're misreading birds? And what's something that you prominently see with somebody that could be changing just one thing, but they're misreading something that a bird's doing and it ends up costing them that bird?
The hardest thing to me in different areas, I'm not sure exactly where you are in Texas, but like where we're at, the terrain's pretty up and down. If somebody's not hunted them quite a bit, they misjudge where they're at.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Distance wise, like you hear one gobbler like, oh, I got to take off. And next thing you know, you're 10 foot from him. He's putting away from you. Or a big one I've watched a ton of kids do this is when a turkey's facing you gobbling, they're extremely loud. Well, their fan is designed to be seen from the front. That's where all their iridescent feathers are. So
Uh-huh.
when he's strutting, he'll turn. That's kind of like his attractor because in the hunting world of turkeys, you are breaking nature. So a tom gobbles, a hen comes to him. When you're hunting, you're
Uh,
the hen, you're sitting still, and you're making him come to you. So the entire time if he goes into a strut, he's trying to make you come to him. So I've seen a lot of times where people see, I get to see it a lot because I set up behind somebody if I'm calling, and maybe I'm elevated, or a lot of times I'll just stand behind a tree, and I see a lot of times when the turkey turns and they gobble, the first thing they do is pick their head up, and movement costs a lot of people a lot of birds,
mm,
in my opinion.
yeah. No, that's you had a lot in there that honestly I never really, again, and kind of like I explained to Kendra, I'm consider myself a new turkey hunter because I have not really had much of an interest in it until last couple years or so. But yeah, not just the movement thing, but I never researched it or really thought about the feather side of it that you just mentioned. And then also, yeah, you're 100% right. They're you're trying to do the opposite of what they're wired to do. So that's a challenge
Right.
as
So
well.
that's why you kind of feel like when you kill one, you're like, I outsmarted you, because I made you break, your whole life. You kill a 3, 4 year old bird. I made you do what you didn't do your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like I said, as they're coming in, they're turning away from their gobble sounds right at you to away from you, right at you to away from you. I've seen so many people want to pick their head up, or a lot of times they'll backdoor you if they feel like they can get around. Like, say there was a brush in front of you that they didn't feel comfortable going to, but they really want to come to your area. I've watched so many times a bird circle a kid, or even a novice hunter, and when he gobbles, the first thing they do with their head is turn as fast as they can, look at him, and it's done. It's game over. I mean,
Yeah.
you better hope you're quick on the trigger.
Yeah. You're giving it all away at that point.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
So are you primarily hunt with a shotgun or a bow, or what's your weapon of choice?
So all the birds I've ever killed in my life, I've never killed one with a bow.
Oh, really?
It's I missed one, so I tried to do that guillotine broadhead, the big 3-inch broadhead last year or year before last, and I did not bring a rangefinder, and I misjudged the range by like yards. Well, those guillotines are not very forgiving, and I shot right underneath this bird.
Ah.
So I was like, you know what? The shotgun's going to be the trick right now. But I've got a 5-year-old. Well, he'll be 5 in June. But my boy got a crossbow for Christmas, and he's like, Dad, I don't want to take my shotgun. I want to kill him with my bow this year. So if I get it done for him, it'd be the first. He'll kill a bird with a bow before I do.
That's awesome. It's it's gonna sound terrible, man. I'm gonna refrain from my crossbow comments because I'd be tickled to death if I saw your son do it. But I'm your traditional crossbow hater over here.
You and me both. Until this last year when Rhett killed his bird or his buck with his bow, I was like, I was against him. Like, if you can pull a bow back, you can shoot. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, bow season, at least for us, is when it's not the most outright weather. It's nice out. It's 50, 40. You might have a 23-degree morning, but most of the time it's not terrible.
Right.
So then I bought him a crossbow for Christmas because I was like, man, that's going to get him involved when it's not 2 degrees outside and freezing to death as a kid, and so then I kind of leaned off my hate for him because I was like, they do have their places, but when you're available not to, they don't have their place.
Yeah. I'm gonna share publicly just how little turkey hunting that I've done in my life. I've only killed one turkey in my life. It's
Oh
it's
man.
it's the one on the wall behind me. And I killed it with a bow.
Heck, that's awesome. We can fall hunting here, and I've had a lot of opportunities to shoot in the fall. I just don't have just to have them walk into me, and see them in the woods and shoot one. I don't know. I don't have the same drive as in the springtime. So
Well, and that's what that one was. That's a fall bird. And just a hunt and a kill of opportunity, pretty much.
right,
You're not going out there just as turkey hunting, but growing up, we never went out there in the spring. We had a
yeah,
fall deer lease, and we just, growing up, we never hunted spring turkey. And I hunted spring turkey a couple times, like when I was a teenager after I got my driver's license and stuff, but still just wasn't big into it. It was honestly, like I said, it's been the past couple years, it seems like, when I've actually kind of been able to put some more determination and effort into, okay, let's go out there in the spring and see if something happens. So uh
yeah. My
yeah.
dad, my dad's never killed a turkey before, other than he may have shot one like in a fall season or something. To my knowledge, he's never killed one. It wasn't what we did growing up.
Yeah. No.
So that's kind of a goal of mine. I told him, I said, this, it's not going to happen this year, but I said, next year I will take some time off and I'll come home and call you a birding. Cause I said, if I do, you'll be ruined, cause I know how he's addicted to deer hunting. I said, you won't even think about those deer come fall time. I said, you'll be waiting for spring.
Yeah. So
But
you mentioned, talking a little bit about calling. You mentioned earlier. I'm pretty sure I recall you saying that, like, when you're calling for somebody, you're behind them. Is that what you said?
yeah, yep.
So is that always your go-to, or are there ever times or circumstances where you would want to be in a slightly different location than the hunter himself when you're playing a bird?
It depends who's with me. If I had a guy that hunted with me a lot and I know he's not going to bust it, I'll sit right next to him if we're trying to say double up. If we're trying to say open in the morning, I'm off work and a buddy wants to go. If I've hunted with him, I'll sit right next to him, or tree to tree or something, to where we can slightly communicate. Um, it just seems like with taking a youth hunter or a novice hunter, I have more opportunity if I'm behind them,
Hmm.
because they think they're still, let's say, 100 yards when they're really 40 yards from the gun. I try to
Yeah.
get behind them, try to same. I think I've never been, but the same way I take the concept of elk hunting. When you're calling, most of the time your caller's not by you. Trying to distort that distance, I guess, would be a best way to
Yeah.
describe it.
I got you. That makes sense. Yeah, that's I don't have a lot of experience elk hunting either. I've only been on an elk hunting trip one time, but you mentioned it earlier, just as far as kind of the comparison to the two, when you were talking about how dangerous it would be for you to
Yeah.
for you to elk hunt. But man, you're 100% right. Like with elk, it's a vocal game, and that was something that was really cool. I went out there with a guy who's, the guy that took me out there in the mountains in Idaho was he's been an elk hunter for, you know, most of his life, for, 20, 25 years, somewhere in there. And it's like he he said, man, I've always rifle hunted, and I'm out there with a bow. He's like,
Right.
I've always rifle hunted. And he said, so like we quote unquote call them in, like we locate them, we play them, we call them in. But he's like, once they're in rifle range, which for them is 3, 4, 500 yards, he's like, we shoot him. So when he's in there playing a bull and calls him into 50 for me, he's like, he was more excited than I was. And he's like, dude, I've never done that before. He said, I've
Yeah.
never called a bull in that close. That's insane. I was like, yeah, man, that's bow hunting for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hate to use the term everybody can, but everybody can go grab a gun and shoot one at 200 yards.
It's a whole lot easier too, for sure. Yeah.
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 Get in their bedroom, get up close and personal. I always joke around. So I like to see how many eyelashes they got before I shoot them.
Yeah, that it comes with its own set of problems for sure, and
But you
definitely got
talked
to be
about
honed
like
in.
growing up, not like spring hunting. I grew up in southern Arkansas, and at the time there was like you didn't really hear of turkeys. Like as I was a kid growing up, I honestly couldn't say if I knew what a turkey was. And we moved to northern Arkansas, and I remember the first fall I went with my dad. We went down behind a place, and we walked in the woods. We was a little bit late, and we spooked off. I don't know. It sounded like 100 of them, but it might have been 20 turkeys off roost. I was literally scared to death. I'd never seen a big bird like that fly out of a tree, and I told my dad, I was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm like, I'm done hunting. Whatever Godzilla was in the tree, I'm done. Now I try to find him in the tree.
That's awesome. Uh, another question for you, just kind of, I don't know, just want to get your thoughts on it, or your summarization of it. But what, in your mind, what separates a good turkey hunter from a great turkey hunter?
I think outside season,
Yeah.
whether like I mentioned earlier about the predator, if you're not focused on getting more of them, then you're not a great. I guess I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but I love killing a turkey, but I don't want to see him be gone tomorrow either.
Hmm.
So if you're not focusing on replenishing the population, or trying to protect it as much as you can, I don't know that you can consider yourself a great. So
Yeah.
I think that's like a kind of a summary of all hunting. I think if whether it be the health of your deer herd or health of your turkey herd, if you're not or flock, if you're not trying to keep it going, I don't know that you can consider yourself a great.
Yeah. No, there's that. Golly, and I am always terrible of pulling these things out of my rear in the middle of a show and quoting them right, or even getting the reference right. But there's that long-standing quote or reference of, what it takes to achieve mastery, and it's like you gotta have 10,000 hours of work into any given topic or trade, or subject matter, whatever it might be, to truly be at a level where you could achieve mastery.
Yeah,
And I agree with that, man. That's applicable in a lot of different ways in my life and in my career, and in hunting too, and it says everything like what you're talking about. Like if you're just an opening day and Thanksgiving weekend hunter, for deer that is, you're not going to be super great at it probably when it comes time to actually demonstrate some woodsmanship. So
Right. Yeah. If you're not taking into the full concept of everything, I'm not sure you could ever go down in the, I'm not looking to go in any books. I just want to, when my boy grows up, I just want him to say, well, my dad knows how to kill a turkey, or if we can't kill him, I know somebody that can, or find them or whatever have it be. But I think it just goes back to what I said earlier: is a good hunt isn't just about the harvest.
yeah.
It's looking, learning. I've learned more from not killing than I have actually making a harvest. Watching them how they react or what they do from A to B or why they do this or
Yeah.
why you think they do. I guess we'll never know why they do it, but why you think they do it.
Yeah. No, you definitely like those that invest themselves in it and really work to understand it, it pays off. And I compare it to like when I started hunting out west, like with antelope and then mule deer and elk, it's like, okay, I'm in the field for fewer days. Like I'm only out there for a week or whatever it ends up being, right? But the amount of effort that I put in before I go, and even while I'm there, like before I go, just to research it and try to learn as much as I can from other people, like before I go on that trip. And then for that whole week, especially when you're out there with somebody else who knows it very well, you're like a
Right.
sponge. You're taking it all in and soaking it all in. And especially after those first couple of non-resident hunts, like out west that I did, I came back and I was like, man, if only I applied that to deer hunting. Like just because I grew up deer hunting, right? It's been like I get it's like a slow grow. You learn a lot and retain a lot over the course of your life. But I'm like, man, I I I put even though I only spent a week out there, I feel like I know quite a bit about antelope hunting because
Right.
I lived and breathed it for months, for this hunt and everything. And then even though I was only out there for a week, I got to witness everything that I learned about during that week. And so it's just that's always been an interesting thing to me. And yeah, again, it's a testament to, you get what you put in. So
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like you said, you go out and you could go out for Thanksgiving for your deer. You might kill a deer because it's that time of year, but you didn't put in the time of work that the guy's been hunting since first of the year of bow season and learning, hey, the oaks are dried up. There's no more acorns, so they're over here. You just got lucky, and that's where they were at. You didn't just get fully passionate about them,
yeah.
and that's where when you're going out for a week. You're like, man, I got to make the most of it. And like you said, you get home, it's like, man, if I could just put that into a whole season, what could I do?
Yeah, exactly.
What could I accomplish if I put that much effort, like learning and everything I can put into it in 1 week? If I put that into a whole season, I mean, it'd be a game changer. But it's hard to break the chain of reputation.
Yeah. Yes, it is. We're creatures of habit.
Yes, bad.
What's the biggest bird you've ever killed?
I heard that on the last one, and I was trying to think of that. The biggest bird I ever killed had 1.5 inch spurs.
Hmm.
And I can't remember it had a 12.5 or 12 and 5/8, but that was the biggest bird I ever killed.
Wow.
Um, I've got lucky and killed. I used to when I lived back home. I used to pick out. When I was scouting, I would pick out a certain bird that I wanted to kill, and I liked the big, thick paintbrush. It might only be 8 inches long, but it looked like a paintbrush.
Yeah.
And so I would go after him. I kind of got the little bit of trophy hunting going on, but anymore, if I can just get somebody else to kill one, I get just as excited.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not bad to have your own standard or anything. I mean,
Right.
like with deer hunting, I have a priority of putting meat in the freezer at the end of the day, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna put plenty of effort into killing that big eight versus that coal buck. So you're
Yeah, no
you're gonna
doubt.
give it
Yep.
everything you got. And I mean, if it
Yeah.
comes down to it, maybe you shoot that coal buck because that's the opportunity you end up having, but you're gonna give it a run for its money trying to get that big 8 point. So
Yeah, it seems like every year I get into like a patch of uh, you know, 10 to 12 inch bearded birds and I'm happy with that. If
oh
I
yeah.
kill a mature bird, last year opening PA, I worked two birds. The farm I was hunting on was like 600 acres and a good buddy of mine was with me. Mike actually videoed that hunt. And off the roost, they went silent on us. we went to walking around the farm just calling. I finally got two birds to fire up, and we sat down, and a hen actually beat the toms to us. And about that time, I seen them strutting in the brush, and I realized they were jakes. But the calling of that hunt, whispered to my buddy, I was like, I haven't shot a jake in a long time. I said, these birds are gonna die. I was like, I can't pass up this kind of hunt. I mean, they hammered up. I mean, it took me like 30 minutes to work them, and the hen came in, and she was madder than they were. She was cutting and yelping at us, and uh, like I said, it came down to the thrill of the story versus the thrill of the harvest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, man, I know we've been going for about an hour or so, which is normally what we shoot for, but you got anything else on those notes that you took that you want to hit on that we haven't really been able to get to yet? We'll make sure we get everything you got there.
I think the only one I missed was a quote from Eddie Salter. Have you ever heard of him?
You'll have to educate me. New turkey hunter here.
Yeah, they call him the Turkey Man. He's a Southern man, and he's one of the greats in my opinion. Just a big educator, and he ranks up there with Cuz Strickland and Tom Kelly, and to me, as a turkey hunter. But he's a great storyteller. So all of his hunts, you might get to watch 5 minutes of a hunt and 20 minutes of a story. And he always has his call with him, and he'll start yelping. He'll say, if a turkey cuts you off calling with a gobble, what he's actually trying to tell you is he wants to take a ride with you in the truck. So
yeah, that's how I interpret it, at least.
Yeah, that's what I live off of. They call back to me, that means they want to go for a ride with me. So I think all I could leave somebody's with is just don't stop. Just it's almost like training a new hound. You're going to wear out a couple pair of boots before you get good at it.
Yeah, no, you got to put that time in for sure.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more. Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time this evening there in your hotel room to hop on here with us and talk a little bit of turkey. It's been fun.
For sure. Won't miss the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. And we'll have to hopefully after turkey season when you've helped plenty of others and hopefully got one on the ground for yourself, we can do another podcast. And I want to at some point I want to talk more, not for this episode, but more predator hunting and some stuff that we're doing with Predator Obsession there, some stuff you guys are doing. And then the other thing that I think that we need to talk about at some point, and this is a whole podcast in and of itself, is I want to talk about like your tracking dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's very, very intriguing to me, and I've attempted with far less success than you to do that with my dog in the past. So definitely a worthwhile podcast at some point that we should set up. But
yeah, for sure. It's always anytime I get to sit down and talk to somebody who wants to listen to me about hunting, I usually take it.
Well,
it may not be advice, but I think it's my advice.
Hey, this is where people learn and grow. Just I enjoy, as a consumer of podcasts and shows, I just like listening to people talk about stuff. That's how I retain little nuggets and everything, and make myself better. So yeah,
absolutely.
Well, next time you're in a hotel room, we'll set up a podcast.
Yeah, I'll hit you up, burn up at least one night anyways.
Yeah, there we go. We'll make it happen. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate your time and enjoyed it. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for listening and joining us. If you joined us live for the Fall Obsession podcast episode, and we will be back with you guys again next week. I'll catch you then.